What up, Buzz? You tapped in? Okay, Goose, you tapped in too? All right, Chicago, y'all tapped in? All right, boys, let's crack 'em. Feel like Mike in the fourth with the ball in my hands and I'm taking a shot. I'm the king in the madhouse on Madison, whether I make it or not. Now the crowd going crazy, they watching the play and I'm watching the clock. Got my shot in the air and the buzzer go off and I'm watching it drop. This team did things, MJ shot City 6 rings. D-Rose too big, too fast, too strong, history. And we good on that, put Jilla on the track and we good on wax. 3, 2, 1, everybody say Bulls on tap, Bulls on tap. Our city pretty and gritty, Benny the bull in the crowd getting hyper and litty. Me, I'm so drippy, it's slippery, nothing offends me. Banners on banners, we winners. We got the stats in the news, go and subscribe. Hang out with Buzzy and Goose, tapping with us, we the truth. Jilla just murdered the booth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bulls on Tap. I'm your boy Buzz. I'm joined by my dude Goose, aka Bull Scripted. And man, preseason is right around the corner. A lot of news to talk about, like Lonzo Ball, who's going to take over his spot. The rumored trade that I'm seeing in our Slack channel right now. The Bulls are looking at a guy to come off their bench to make some things happen. A bunch of shit in between with the the Central Division and them getting better. We're going to hit all that tonight on this episode. But before we do that, be sure to go to ontapsportsnet.com for other Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter at Bulls on Tap, at OnTapSportsNet. Follow my dude Goose at Bull Scripted, me at Buzz on Tap. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. 5-star rating and review, because that's cool and tough. Go to betrivers.com, use promo code ONTAP. They'll match up to $250 It's been a while. $250 of your first deposit if you go over there and use promo code ONTAP. So go do that. Goose, it's been a hot minute since August 16th. This is the first time we've been doing this show where we literally took an off season.
Yeah, no, we usually don't do that. It was really good to hear that intro. Kind of was starting to feel like Tom Brady without football here. Just wasn't sitting right. It's nice to see your face. It's nice to hear that intro, and I'm happy that the season's going to start because I need more of that in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I'm so pumped, but I hate to start the episode off on a shitty note, because usually I'll be like, oh, what have we been up to? But no one really gives a fuck about that. No one cares about that. And so we're not going to get into that. But we're going to get into is kind of some shitty news off the bat here, and something that upsets me, because you know that we've talked about this a million times. I'm not a jersey guy. If I buy a jersey, it's a legend. I got the jersey because of Lonzo Ball, because I was so excited, right, when he got here. You knew how pumped I was. Everybody that knows me well knows how pumped I was. And this news that came out that he is now going to be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks after he's getting looked at. It was arthroscopic. It's a camera thing, right? Or whatever they do in LA. They're doing that surgery on his knee again to look and see what they can actually find and be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. Does not mean he's on the court in 4 to 6 weeks. It means he's going to be looked at. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think about this, man? Like, what are your initial thoughts on this?
My initial thoughts are, I guess, I'm glad we finally have an answer to what the hell's going on. We kind of had back and forth with LeVar and Chicago media. Catman, LeVar told us Lonzo would be ready for the season and Zach was going to end up in LA. Neither of those things happened. But at least we have some clarity on what's going on, because seeing these off-season runs where everybody's getting together and, your glue guy, your connector is not in these runs with everybody during the off-season was a little disheartening. And you really had you wondering what the hell was going on. Obviously, it's unfortunate that we had to make it through the rest of the regular season, the playoffs, and a full off season, essentially, before we found out what they were going to do. And I'm assuming that just has to be because it got to the point where it was like, I'm not going to be ready to go. We have to do something. With
you saying that, do you feel like we talked about this before? Not in depth like this with the injury, obviously. We've been gone for a hot minute, but I don't want to say it because I sound like an asshole when I feel like I say it, but do you think the Bulls were the Bulls misled, or did they not do their due diligence? Which one is it? It's kind of like, right? You have to really, like, when you watch our dude Joe Colley tweet. I know everybody, Joe Colley, he's a terrible guy. No, he's actually a great guy. But, he likes to poke fun. But he did make a really good point about that. He's like, they waited way too fucking long here. I mean, was Lonzo saying, what was happening here?
I don't know. I mean, do we have, I don't want to even think about the scenario, but do we have a fractured relationship here? Were the Bulls pushing too hard to get him back for the playoffs? And that created some separation leading into the offseason.
Exactly.
And Joe tried to do his own thing in LA, and then that didn't quite work the way that he wanted it to either. And now we're back to here. Because that is a concern. I mean, I guess the one, I can't even call it a positive because it involves somebody else being injured. Robert Williams for the Boston Celtics.
8 to 12 weeks. I just saw that.
12 weeks. So you see what the potential repercussions of rushing somebody back for, a playoff run. Obviously, the Celtics were more of a contender. They did make the championship, the finals there. So I guess in their case, maybe it was worth it. But to see Rob Williams rush it back, have, an impact for their team, but then to be out, for a good chunk of the beginning of the season, it kind of makes you wonder if maybe the Bulls, just pushed a little too hard. But Zoe didn't re-injure himself in a severe degree. So best case scenario, we are going to finish the season with Zoe, even if we don't start it with him. And that is the better outcome of the two, because we had the opposite last year, right? And we watched it, fall really quick.
It's 100% not better than not having him at all. And we have our boy Chai Sports fan who said that's why they went and got Dragic too. Yeah, and I was like looking at that. I thought the Dragic move at the time was like obviously a veteran move. And, I kind of convinced myself now that he says that when he did an interview, we wrote an article about it over at ontapsportsnet.com about him having wanting to play 20 to 25 minutes a game. And that's why he didn't go to Dallas. And when he came here, I'm like, "Oh, fuck, do you mean?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" But maybe they did know longer than initially. So with that being said, just to counterpoint you, buddy, and our Chai Sports fan buddy here, to counterpoint you, like, then why the fuck, if they knew it was that bad, then why the fuck did they take so long to go get this additional, this additional surgery, this additional look at him? Like, why did it take so long? I mean, 2 weeks before the fucking see, he hasn't even had it yet. He doesn't get it till Wednesday. Get him under the knife now. Why is he not under the knife now?
Because we saw Zach get under the knife, and he was back to action rather quickly this offseason.
Like, I think he missed what? Right, in the offseason. But even when Zach got got the knee looked at before the All-Star break or whatever, it was right after. Like, he missed, 1-2 games? I don't think he missed much from it when he got looked at. So I'm just curious on just the whole timetable and how it happened. I wish I had answers for everybody.
Just the mystery around the injury to begin with. Like, it
happened
out of nowhere. You didn't really know how or when it happened. You just knew that Zoe was sitting out short term, then, doubtful, and on to meniscus issues. And you have the surgery. You think you're going to potentially get him back for the playoffs. I'm glad they at least put the kibosh on that early, just because going in with those kind of hopes would have been really damning for fans and the team itself. No, please don't bring Sato back. The Dragon is good enough. We're gonna have to push some IO minutes here. I mean, I guess this is the perfect segue. Who do you think starts? We talked about 20-25 minutes for Dragic. Being, kind of a requirement for him in his new landing spot with the team. Do you think he gets the nod over Io, or with that balance of offense, defense with Zach and Io, do you think that the second-year guard gets the nod instead?
Oh, my God. So it's so hard. Like, because I'm plugging the website. And if anybody's watching, because I see a ton of you watching on Twitter right now, just go over to the YouTube. You don't even have to fucking subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, don't fucking subscribe. But if you just want to go into the YouTube and hop in the comment section, come on over from the Twitter to the YouTube. I wrote an article about this over at YouTube at ontapsportsnet.com, and I picked Io. The reason I picked Io, there's a few reasons. I feel like he's younger. He's a little bit more hungry. He's in a contract year. And I don't care what anybody says, that does play a huge part in, for some of these players, it's financial security for this kid for the rest of his fucking life. If he balls out and goes nuts, he's going to get paid somewhere, if not here, which I would love to. I don't want him to go anywhere, but I also want to win. Io showed great defense last year. He can fight over screens real well. He can mask some of the things that Zach LaVine can't do on the perimeter defensively. And if Zach can do them, he's usually conserving that energy for the offensive side of the ball, right? Then I liked what Io kind of did last year from the 3 too. Like, he was a decent shooter. I think he shot 36% overall. I have to pull it up, but he was doing good from 3. found his teammates real well. I like Goran Dragic, but I'd like Dragic to be in that backup role. I'd like Dragic to get 15 to 20 minutes a game. He is doing great over with the Eurobasket right now. He's looked very good. No doubt about it. He's coming off a year where he was injured in the NBA, where he didn't really find consistency between Toronto and Brooklyn. So I chose Io. A little bit of homer in me. I chose Io. A little bit, I think, practicalness as well with the chemistry. He did start 40 games for us last year, Goose. And I know he went was it 18 and 22 in those games, Io was, as a starter. I did that off the top of my head. I need a stat guy. Chai Sports Fan, check that on StatMuse. Io DeSumo was a starter. I believe it was 18 and 22 he went last year in the starting lineup. But there's so many different variables that played into that too, right? There's no, you don't have Patrick Williams. You don't have, who the fuck knows? You don't have Zach LaVine when he was starting to go down and get hurt. You had guys missing time.
And he didn't really have much relief in Caruso when he was out either. So
right. So I mean, he's playing heavy minutes. And
top responsibility on the defensive end.
Right. So
best player.
I chose Io. Now, if this was Goran Dragic of 16, 17, 18, more so 17, 18, I would be like, okay, yeah. Miami Goran Dragic, all-star Goran Dragic. I mean, he's honestly, if you look at it, Goose, he's not that far removed from that appearance. And those Euros always get better with time. They're like wine. You know what I'm saying?
For our sake, I hope that is the case because we need a bounce back year from Vooch as well.
I saw a great report on him. I'll let you tell who you want the starter to be or whatever, but I have a good thing on Vooch.
Okay, no, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I think you start Dragic just because of the age.
Okay.
Asking somebody the experience, but also what we saw it with Thad. When you asked him to go to the bench as opposed to starting the game, that ramp-up period takes a while. When you get older, you go from warm-ups, you sit down, you're on the bench for a half an hour before you go back into the game, maybe even an hour from warm-ups to your first appearance, and you're starting fresh again. For a young guy like Io, that's going to be a little easier to come off the bench and bring that spark and have that pop right away. And then to your point, but the opposite end of it, it is Io's contract year. It might be more beneficial for the Bulls to have him come off the bench and more of a earn it, prove it, do it again style thing.
If you're the GM, would you want to do that and risk starting the better option? I mean, I don't know who the better option is. I'm just asking.
If it comes down to that, no. I mean, that's not going to factor in enough for me to be like, hey, I gotta dampen this guy's potential salary for next year, especially because Io's going to be an unrestricted free agent. He's not going to be a restricted free agent. So I believe the Bulls will have some level of bird rights to where they can still pay him more if they want. But,
they will be able to, yes.
Obviously, that only really factors in if somebody's going to offer him max money, which I hope he shows max player capabilities. But
would that be?
That'd be fantastic. And then you might actually have to explore the crazy idea that I see floating on Twitter of trading Lonzo without ever seeing him play basketball again, which blows my mind.
I'm sorry, I'm not all about that.
No, I'm not about that at all. I don't really like the fact that, one, you'd be trading him at his lowest value possible, and two, it just doesn't. That's not how you do a player. It's not. We just changed the perception from the outside for players on our organization. We don't need to go right back into the damaged goods, sent him out before we even got any clarification again, because we've been down that road as well.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to do that again. I'd be very shocked if they were to do something like that, man. But I mean, I do understand the points that you made about starting Dragic over Io. I can get behind either one. If I had my way, it would be Io. Just after what he did last year, I mean, a second-round rookie and the things that he did last year and how he stepped up, I mean, it just proves that he's got the fight of a guy who wants to be a very good player within this league, and I think that he's going to continue to improve. The Vucevic thing. He skipped Eurobasket this year, which we all knew already. But he skipped that, but not for the reasons of being old or not just wanting to do it. He wanted to work out with his teammates. And that was a little report that came out. And I thought that was really cool.
The Bulls tried to tell Dragic that he shouldn't or couldn't go either, and he just went,
Yeah, right. Well, I kind of probably, I could see that. New coming to the team and shit like that, and he's a veteran in the league. Yeah, you're not going to tell him what to do. But I did like that little report on Vucevic, not going to spend more time with his teammates and build that chemistry and work on, his game and not risk injury too. You know what I mean? Going and playing over there. He knows he's a key cog in this machine. And if this machine wants to, run on all cylinders. He needs to be at his best. So I really like that he stayed back and he's really focusing on doing what he needs to do for the Bulls.
Do you think we get the Vooch that we traded for as opposed to the Vooch that we are now revisiting that trade? And, we have a kind of a split fan base on that decision and what that means for the team.
Listen, he's a fundamental guy. His game was never built off athleticism. It's finding your spots, learning how to play with these guys, and doing your thing. He was the number one option for all of these years. He spent a half a season with the Bulls, not even a half, because after the NBA trade deadline, it's not like, it's a little less than half of the season. Then he played a full year last year with a new team. The ball wasn't running through him as much, and I'm not making excuses. He needs to make these open shots. He had a lot of fucking open looks that me and you had talked about on these post games that he didn't make. So hopefully he can turn that around and he can make them. Now, as far as okay, here comes the fucking rant now. Like, I saw Fred put something up and I quote tweeted it, and I want to do it justice, so I'm just going to look for it real quick so I don't sound like an idiot. So he said on his on the latest Zach Lowe pod, he called the Vucevic trade a heist for the Magic. Most neutral pundits feel the Bulls gave up too much for Vooch, 2 first-round picks, and Wendell. In retrospect, do you feel the Bulls trade or the trade was a mistake for the Bulls? I never want to give away fucking picks, okay? I never want to give away picks. I don't want to do that. But when they traded for Nikola Vucevic, this fucking fan base, okay, was like, oh my God. We did an emergency press conference. Like, that podcast numbers for us were like one of the best that we've ever had. I'm not even fucking kidding when we went and got Vooch. Like, it was unbelievable. Everybody was hyped up about it. Everybody was in a good mood about it. He had a hard time. But I will tell you one fucking thing right now. Do I miss Wendell Carter Jr.? No, I don't. Like, I was just having a conversation on Twitter. It was like, oh, well, he had some good numbers. I'm like, yeah, he's your best player on a fucking 22-win team. Cool, man. I just lived that the last couple of years. I don't want to go back to that. I'm not saying he can't become good or anything like that, but I'm fucking sick of being patient, dude. We've been patient since 2017. I'm not being patient anymore. Fuck that noise. No, I like the trade. I'm glad that the fucking trade happened. And more importantly than anything with this trade is something that you just mentioned. The Bulls are looks to appear they're staying behind him. Okay, Vooch came over. If you don't trade for Vooch, maybe you don't get DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, they threw a bag at DeMar for sure, which Bleacher Report and fans alike said was a horrible contract, and all of a sudden they're on his jock strap last year because he's helping carry the fucking team. I think that's just completely ignorant. I think that you didn't pay attention. Yeah, he had a kind of a shitty year, but he wasn't as fucking bad to say that the trade was a huge mistake and detrimental. What changes if Wendell Carter Jr. is there with that same roster? What changes?
I think you have more cap space. For me, it's going to come down to what happens with Vooch in this potential extension. If he takes a team-friendly deal and he can maintain even the level of play that he had last year for another couple seasons, I think that the move makes sense, especially all the moves that did precede it. But I do feel like with the outcome of the Bulls landing in the lottery as opposed to making in the playoffs, giving up a number 7 pick instead of, something 10 to 20, really does kind of change the dynamic, because if you had the ability to have all this cap space, including more cap space because you locked down a young center like Wendell, who is an all-around player, maybe backs up a little bit more of what Zach does, solve some of the issues you had on defense, and you have another number 7 pick, and you still had that money to throw at DeMar and Caruso and potentially some other role players to fill the holes that we still lack on the wing. I get where the argument is coming from, because hindsight is 2020. You see the outcome now. You know what happened in that half season. You know the team didn't make the playoffs like they were supposed to. You gave up too good of a pick than you anticipated giving up, because you made the trade anticipating you were giving up either a late lottery or a non-lottery pick because you were going to be in the play-in or the playoffs. And that didn't happen. And then the following full season you get from him, you have a major drop-off. And it is due to exactly what you're saying. He became a third wheel instead of a first option in a new system with zero chemistry. And he really just kind of had to take a whole bunch of open shots. And that was his job. He was a floor spacer. And he didn't have the offense facilitated to him. And maybe we see more of that, especially without Lonzo. You're going to need a facilitator. And as great as Iowa was last year, I don't know that you're going to call him an elite playmaker.
Yeah, I won't say. Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah.
So maybe, to start this season, we do see Vooch getting in a groove, playing out of the post, facilitating for people, and just creating things by being that presence that he can be down low. So I agree with you that I think he's going to bounce back, but the optics of the trade for me have changed a little bit after last season.
And that's fine. And that's fine. Like, so the whole thing with Wendell with me is I look, he was with the previous regime, right? Okay. He's with the previous regime. He comes into the new regime, fucking broken. But what is it? It's a fresh start. You have the opportunity now to prove why you should be here. Why you are, Vucevic is an all-star, but you can become one. And you're playing well right now, and you're matching what he's doing. Obviously not in Orlando because he was the number one option. Those numbers are inflated when that kind of shit happens. We all know that. He wasn't too far off of that shit last year, even though he struggled as even a third option, but I digress, whatever. But you look, Wendell didn't take enough advantage of what was here in front of him to be considered as like, okay, yeah, we can't move him. We should keep him, and he's a good compliment. And that's not saying he's mentally weak. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I think that Wendell was so run down from his tenure here. A change of scenery is what probably was good for him and everybody involved. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I think it didn't work. It didn't
most definitely. And that's where the hindsight aspect comes in, is you saw that he was able to bounce back in a different, better situation for him.
Right.
And that may not have ever been the case here. It may have been too damaged and too gone to repair. And then at that point, the only thing you're really griping about is the fact that Franz Wagner ended up being a lot better than Mo Wagner.
Yeah, no shit. Right?
And that in itself is what hurts with hindsight. And like I said, for me, it really comes down to what kind of extension we get out of Vooch. If he stays here for a couple more years on a team-friendly deal, I think at the end of this season, we might revisit the deal and feel a little bit different once again.
It is a seller's market right now, in more ways than one, not just in the NBA world, but in the housing market. And you have Vooch, who bought, what was that, a $4.6 million house in Chicago just like a couple months ago. I think that he's been obviously talking to the front office, and I think that they're going to come to terms on something. I mean, you don't go and you just don't go and do that, dude. You buy a house when you know you're going to be here for a hot second. Unless there's some sort of trade that is fucking blows AK or Mark away that presents itself, whether they seek it out or it's brought to them. I don't see him going anywhere, and I do see it again. And this is all fucking conspiracy theory speculation. But buying a house like that, having your family here, I mean, that is a big fucking deal. I mean, people don't realize that. You can rent anywhere. You can rent anywhere. Buying a piece of property is a big fucking deal.
Well, especially in this inflated market.
Right.
It's not like that's the price he would have paid when he got here originally.
100%.
He probably would have paid under $4 for that house when he first moved here.
Right. I mean, that's
getting traded here.
Great point.
So to make that kind of investment in this kind of market,
it's a huge commitment.
Is pretty telling, and it makes you wonder what kind of numbers they've bounced off of each other already. Because we did see throughout the offseason that they were at least, broaching the conversation of an extension.
Right.
And if it's a team-friendly deal, I will be more than happy with that, because the Bulls didn't pull the trigger on something like a sign and trade for Ayton in the offseason to get that younger center on a long-term kind of deal. So,
well, speaking of younger centers and everything like that, Marvin Bagley, Detroit, I just popped right into my head right away. What do you think about Detroit's moves? Because let's just look at the Central in general right now. I'm looking at Cleveland. I think Cleveland's very good. I think that they've got some good pieces over there. Obviously, they added Donovan Mitchell this offseason, which I've never been a big Spida guy. I'm not saying like he's not a great player or anything like that. But
Spida man?
Yeah, he doesn't no, I'm a bat kind of guy. I like the Batman. I don't really like superheroes actually at all. I've never fun fact about me. So everybody, you're just going to skip 15 seconds on Spotify if you're listening real quick. I have never seen any of the Marvel movies. The only superhero movies I've ever seen are the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans and the Christian Bale Batmans. That's it. Never seen anything else. Never seen Iron Man. What's the other one?
Captain America.
Yeah, never seen that. Yeah, never seen that shit. More of a Batman.
Wow, I'm a little surprised by this.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Dude, all I watch is sports and stupid comedies. That's it.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
that's it. But anyway, not really too scared of Donovan Mitchell, but I will say, dude, like that team is fucking kind of sexy. Like if you look at it on paper, Darius Garland, right? Donovan Mitchell, Okoro.
The point guard I wanted instead of Kobe.
Yep. I know. We have episodes talking about that too, which is hysterical. Evan Mobley and a great rim protector like Jared Allen. I mean, that is just fucking. That's scary over there in Cleveland. You know, I do not like that. Obviously, you have the Milwaukee Bucks. You've got Giannis. You've got, fucking Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. I mean, that's a great team that is in title contention every fucking year right now. Then you have Detroit. I'm not saying they're going to be good, but they're coming. They're fucking coming. Marvin Bagley, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey. I mean, you've got some fucking players over there. Like this NBA Central, Indiana, you suck. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'm telling you, dude, I am fucking blown away about how good the Central is going to be, or it currently is right now. And the Bulls, they can't afford injury. Going into this season with this Lonzo injury is already fucking spinning my head. Nobody else can go down, dude.
No, I mean, the current state of the Central and the East in general is kind of what leaves me iffy about the aggressive play. I know neither of us wanted to wait, and we were ready to go streaking multiple times last year with the success that we had early in the season. But you look at teams like the Cavs and Detroit, and we don't really project to be good enough to actually compete with Milwaukee in their window. And when that window passes, you're going to have these teams that are stacked with young talent and young stars kind of coming up and surpassing you. The Bulls are in that unfortunate middle ground again, and they don't have the assets to really move out of it. Re-securing Zach LaVine was obviously huge. That gives you an asset or a building block, regardless of the direction you decide to go when this window with DeMar and Vooch ends. But you look at the state of the East and the Central itself, where we reside, and it is not exactly a good long-term outlook. You're counting down the clock. That sand hourglass is
that window. It's the window. Like, this is your window. This is when like, Vooch has still got it. DeMar has still got it. Zach is ascending. You have a point guard that can hold it all together, well, when he's available, in Lonzo. You have what you hope and what everybody keeps telling you is going to be a future superstar in Patrick Williams. Man, you better hope you fucking hit on those three. I'm telling you right now, because if you don't hit on those three, if something's not right, and Lonzo don't look good right now, neither does Patrick fucking Williams. And not because of Lonzo's play, because of his fucking health. And then you go over to Patrick Williams, and I'm not going to say anything health with him, because that was brought up a lot last year's bullshit. He got fucking bull tackled by Mitchell Robinson and broke his wrist. Let's calm down on the Patrick Williams can't stay healthy shit. Okay, he got fucking taken out. It was a flagrant.
Yeah,
so
that situation is not comparable to
not comparable
situation
at all.
That was more of a fluke injury that was unfortunate for a player that's supposed to be ascending and turning into this star caliber two-way player. But I would not at all put him in the same category.
I couldn't believe some of the shit I was seeing about that. Like, they're saying, he can't stay healthy. He only fucking played this many. Well,
did you see the play?
Why don't you try to go dunk on fucking Mitchell Robinson and get thrown to the ground? What do you mean? I would have died. I would have been dead. He thankfully just fucking hurt his wrist. I would have died. I would have been killed. But then you have Zach LaVine, and I love Zach. Like, I really like that he's here. I really like that Zach is a fun story, right? And there in more ways than one. I've told this story on the podcast before. Like, I would trade Jimmy Butler back in 2K16, and I'd trade him to Minnesota because they were shit, and I'd get their pick, and I'd get LaVine back. And then I'd go into the 2017 NBA draft and download your draft class. I'd take Lonzo Ball. I still have that on my Xbox. Unbelievable. I still have NBA 2K16 on my external hard drive. You can pull that fucking team up right now. It's amazing. That was my backcourt. It's very cool. But I think that Zach is a great player. I love seeing what he's done from the time he was in Minnesota to his ACL tear to building back up and becoming a two-time All-Star. But he's hurt a lot too. He goes out there. But what's the narrative that surrounds it? He's not 100%. He's got a thumb ligament. He's got a knee issue. It's not right. Can he get through a whole fucking season? Can he actually do it? Can he do the grind? We know he can score.
And now he just got the big bag, the big
right.
long-term bag.
100%. And
So
we
does
know
the motivation stay the same.
I'll tell you what, man, the question marks in the NBA Central are absolutely insane. Brad Mason, did not want you to think I was ignoring you. Is Cleveland better than us if Zoe isn't 100%? You know what, dude? We need to see how these guys play. You have a couple of young guys in Okoro and Mobley over there who are just have added another year of experience, knowing their roles on this team, and they were competitive last year.
Without Zoe, I have to say yes.
I think that we're in trouble.
I wish I could hesitate a little more in responding to that, but without Zoe, the answer is yes. Cleveland is better than us.
Again, I think it depends, but I think it depends.
Even with Zoe, if that team clicks, if the balance in that starting lineup works the way that it's supposed to, if Mobley and Okoro and Allen can hold down the defensive end for what's going to be a turnstile perimeter defense with Garland and Mitchell.
Yep.
You do have a very scary team there because you can do both, and you can do it all game. And they've got a pretty solid bench too. So part of that scenario that we haven't touched on yet, though, is Lauri Markkanen, Utah Jazz.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. You know, I mean, he's going to be a guy that bounces around. He really is. He's going to be a guy that bounces around. He's not going to.
The Utah atmosphere might be what Lauri needs.
It might be, dude, but
they're rebuilding. They're trying to tank. He gets to go back to that kind of first-year focal point mentality, and I don't know, maybe getting tossed around like
I see him as being a journeyman. He'll
a used car. I don't know.
Yeah, I see him being a journeyman.
Lauri goes to Euroball and he does crazy shit too. So
very true, very true.
So
back to your
Cleveland
storyline. Back to your Cleveland thing. If we get a jump from P-Will and we get a jump from Io to Sumu, I think that this seriously. I mean, if Io gets big minutes, he spent all off season with his teammates. And I'm not saying that's going to like jump in his talent level or whatever. I think the talent is there. He's athletic. He could shoot the ball a little bit. But now he's getting more comfortable within the NBA game, knowing his role, playing with these guys. If those guys make a jump, I could see us being second in the Central. I do not have us winning the Central. And that's hot take right fucking now. I got Milwaukee winning it. I'd be ignorant not to say that. Unless fucking Giannis gets hurt or something, which just,
even then, they still have a good enough team to kind of float around. I mean, and obviously.
Yeah, I think it'd be more competitive. You'd have to get big fucking games, from their other core players, but I have Milwaukee as number one right now, and everybody in the Central chasing them. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Like you,
I don't think there's many people that would dispute that. At least not insane people.
I mean, in Detroit, dude, it's like I don't know how to explain this roster to you. I mean, you know the roster. I mean, you look at it. It's like I built it in 2K because I wanted young, fun fucking players that might turn out to be something. It's unbelievable.
No. Cade is a prospect that is very intriguing to me just because he's in that kind of Ben Simmons elk, but he actually can shoot the basketball.
Yeah, he can shoot the rock.
And that's scary.
Yeah, it is, dude.
I'm not looking forward to that in 2 to 3 years when the wheels are falling off DeMar and Vooch here. Because we really, if Pat doesn't take this jump, like this is extension season for Pat. It's not contract year, but it's secure the bag before contract year. And we need a giant jump out of this dude.
We do. We absolutely do.
I know you alluded to the rumor earlier, and I'm assuming you were talking about Jay Crowder, as he has let Twitter know that he doesn't plan on being in Phoenix, which is very interesting because everything that's going on in Phoenix is a mind fuck. Like, how do you go from legitimate contender to a place where somebody like Jay Crowder doesn't even want to be?
I actually wasn't talking about Jay Crowder.
You weren't talking about Jay
Crowder.
Crowder.
I would love to have him for some wing depth, but I was not. I was actually talking about Jordan Clarkson.
Oh.
They're selling, bro. They're selling. 6th man of the year. He's been around. He's been around. And right now, there's rumors floating around, and I don't know how true this is, but I'm going to take this. Let's see here. This is from a guy on Twitter named RollTide25. His name is Aaron. He's a verified guy. He's a fan of the Bulls, but he heard, and I'm seeing this in our Slack too. There's rumors floating around everywhere that the Bulls made an offer to Utah for Jordan Clarkson to bring some fucking scoring off of their bench, some scoring that they know can actually take place off of their bench. Because who's supposed to hold that spot, Goose? It's supposed to be Kobe White, and Kobe White's been nothing but a question mark.
How many years does Clarkson have on his contract?
I would have to look, and I can do that right now for you. So if you want to elaborate on what you think of Jordan Clarkson, you can do that while I find this.
I mean, obviously, you say 6th man of the year, giant upgrade from Kobe. I don't think that's a question. But I am a little, I guess, curious what that costs, given what we really have left in the arsenal here.
You've got this year at 13.3 mil. And then you have next year player option at 14.2 mil.
Okay, so it is an expiring contract essentially, because if he plays anywhere near what he did last year, he's looking at more than that.
He'll go get more money.
He'll go get more money. So you are looking at a 1-year rental. So is that worth Kobe matching salary of whoever else you got to throw in there and the Portland pick?
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. I do not. I'm telling you now. I like Jordan Clarkson. Like I'm just gonna read everybody's the numbers off for everybody if you're not familiar. Jordan Clarkson off the bench last year. He had 16 points per game, 3.5 boards, 2.5 assists per game. That's what he did last year over there in Utah. The year before that, he averaged 18 off the bench. This guy averaged 18.4 points in 26 minutes. Last year, he had 16 points in 27 minutes. He's been an Iron Man the last 2 years. 68 games over there in 2021 and 79 games. And
I do guess my concerns of him and Zach coexisting kind of go out the window a little bit, because you saw him and Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. If he did it with Mitchell, it's definitely – I mean, I don't see why he couldn't.
To make that work. I guess that's my greatest concern, and giving that much up for him is just kind of the overall fit without Lonzo. Right. If Lonzo's healthy, well, then obviously having him be able to take Zach's place on the court.
Where does that trade start, though? Obviously, Kobe.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kobe's obviously included.
I just don't know where else do you go?
Because you can't really get to the salary with Javonte.
No.
Make enough money.
And I don't want to get rid of Javonte, to be honest with you. You need a guy like that.
I don't think DJJ's salary gets you there. Guys like Drummond and Dragic, who you just signed.
You can't trade them.
Traded.
I don't know. I would have to play around on the ESPN trade machine thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you could dump Tony Bradley in there, that'd be fantastic.
He'll be cut after the 7th game of the year. He will. They're going to save that money. They're going to just buy.
Okay.
Yeah, he won't be here after the 7th or 8th game of the year, I think it is. I was just talking to Alex Root about that not too long ago. He's going to be gone immediately. There is no use for him here whatsoever. He had the opportunity of a lifetime last year to fucking take advantage of some shit, and he just couldn't do it. And I mean, oh my God, he lost a spot to Tristan Thompson. When I watched him, I thought I was going to take a toaster bath every time I watched that fucking guy play.
Oh, no,
I mean, that guy's yelling at people. Like I'm sorry. Like he's yelling at people out there on the court. Like, this is where you got to be. Like, the only reason.
Where were you supposed to be?
Yeah, like where were you supposed to be? Number one. Number two, the only reason in this realm of the universe that you got a big contract the first fucking time or won anything is because you played with LeBron. I'd win too. No, I wouldn't. But I mean, I tried.
No, I wouldn't.
I always got to bring myself back down because I start talking that shit, and I'm like, nah, I'd be pretty bad out there. But regardless, I don't know, man. Tony Bradley did not take advantage of that last year, and I don't know. It's just very. I would love that if.
I don't know. I think
I just don't want to give him a first-round pick for a fucking bench player, dude. I'm sorry.
I think I like the idea of Jay Crowder better.
I think I do too. Guy who can stand in the corner, guy who can defend. He hit three.
We need the wing. We need the two-way players.
Need a little fucking dog.
Need some dog.
And
Crowder checks all those boxes.
Yeah, he does.
I think of the two, I would prefer moving for Crowder, which obviously probably starts at Kobe as well. But I also think Crowder makes a little bit less money than Clarkson to try to make.
I just think that's a huge thing. That's why Kobe didn't start last year. Like, Kobe had that starting experience, you know what I'm saying, with the Bulls. And I don't think Kobe got those starts last year is because Billy Donovan was so focused on making sure, like, oh, shit, I need to keep scoring off my bench because Caruso can't score. Io's not really a scorer. I got to keep somebody with some firepower to keep the offense going off of my bench. And that was a fucking huge problem. You know what I mean?
Can't really have Io, Caruso, Javante, and Tony Bradley on the floor at the same time.
Well, don't worry. Maybe they'll call up Matt Thomas. See, I said I wasn't going to say his name ever again. I just fucking did.
He did. I mean, we had a Sato name drop in here, too.
Sato fucking left the league. He left it efficiently, though. He left it efficiently, though, man. Fucking Sato, bro. Oh, my God. I don't know, man. I like I said, I think the Bulls are second in the Central. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do, but I think that they really do have a roster right now. I feel that can be competitive when healthy, but that's the problem. And I hate saying that because it's so stupid. It seems like such a cop-out, but they're not. They're not fucking healthy going into the season again. They're not. So if they need to pull the trigger on somebody like a Jordan Clarkson that can come and get you fucking buckets because Zach and DeMar can't play the whole game, unless Io and Pat step it the fuck up, I don't know. I really don't.
I mean, the way you set that up is the same way the table's been set up for them, though. The opportunity is there. And not only do we need it to happen, but they're encouraged to do it now. They're not going to be asked to take a back seat to start the season. We need to see what you're capable of now.
Right.
We need to see the growth. And hopefully working out with DeMar this offseason has instilled some dog in Pat, because that's really what we need more than anything. The kid has the tools. He has the skills.
You're right. He does. Yeah, he does. Sure.
He just needs that confidence. Hopefully the continuity of the team also enables him to do what we need him to do. And we genuinely need those jumps, or we are going to be stuck in the middle for the foreseeable future.
Basketball hell fucking sucks. If you're new to Bulls fandom and you're listening to this podcast and you're just starting to get into basketball or whatever, or if you just found us, I'm sure anybody that can agree with that. Basketball hell sucks, and we've lived it like twice in the last 15 years. For multiple years. Basketball hell is the worst. Just when you're just competitive, to get us to go, in your words, go out there running around fucking streaking, because we're streaking right now. We're winning games in a row, man. We're on top. Yeah, I'm taking my clothes off too. I'm fucking hyped. But it doesn't matter in the long run. You end up fucking losing. The end goal is a championship. They took the right step last year to get there. They took the right step by getting back into the postseason, right? I think we can agree on that statement for sure. They took the right steps, but they had a lot going against them, and I don't feel that they did enough in this offseason to protect themselves from that, besides believe and run this shit back. That's a homerism shit, running it back, bro. I didn't even want that. And I'm the biggest homer in the fucking world. I wanted something different.
But with that in mind, outside of Kevin Durant, what the hell were we going to do that was really that great? Donovan Mitchell?
No.
Rudy Gobert? At that price tag? I'm good?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm good on that. No, I'm good on that.
So, and that's why it's hard. Like, I completely agree. I needed a bang. I needed more spice.
Maybe not even just a bang, but like this conversation we're having now, like, man, you could improve the bench somewhere. You can. You can improve the bench in scoring. That is something that doesn't need to be a bang. You can find it. And they didn't address it. They didn't do it. They're just hoping going into this season that you have Caruso coming in who can run the offense and fucking lock bitches down, and then you have Kobe White who needs to come in and get you that goddamn bucket. That's what you need. You can't play Zach 38 minutes a game. He hasn't proven to stay healthy a whole season.
Is contract year Kobe going to be confident? Do we get a killer? Do we get somebody that's looking to get the bag, or maybe even stay in the league?
I don't know, man. He'll definitely stay in the fucking league. But
how can you say that so confidently? Like,
because he's not. Campaign stayed in the league.
Chris Dunn didn't.
That's so true. That is. Yeah, but Kobe has that potential to get a bucket. Dunn didn't.
Chris Dunn made Trae Young cry.
Well, yeah. Well, that's not fucking hard. Look at Trae Young.
No, but you have the ability to be an elite stopper and stop opposing stars in the league. That's just as valuable as somebody that can sometimes hit a three-pointer.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. That's true, I guess. But I still see Kobe staying in the league.
No,
I think there's some underlying
definitely
shit.
more of a premium.
Yeah, I think there's some underlying shit with Chris Dunn too. I mean, his injury, and I think Chris Dunn had a little bit of an attitude problem.
Yeah, I think it's probably the attitude. It's the not really willing to sit on this bench.
Right. He thought, I mean, hey man, 2016 NBA draft in the lottery to Minnesota. I mean, out of Providence, a fucking good player, in college. In the NBA, gets a horrible start to his career because he went to a fucking joke of a franchise at the time, like the Timberwolves, who had Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, and never did shit with them. Nothing with those guys together.
It's just sat behind Rubio mainly.
I mean, it's sad. It's fucking sad. But yeah, I don't know, man. The whole Kobe White thing, I think the Bulls could at least done something to address that bench to bring some scoring off of it. That would have been more of a sure thing than what Kobe White is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know, man. What else do we got to touch on? We touched on quite a lot. We already did the Andre Drummond episode. We talked about Dragic last time we were on. We went through our starters. I think we just need to get into the season now, man. We got the preseason starting on Tuesday, right? Tuesday, 9:30 on TNT against the Pelicans. Which, let's talk about that for a second. What kind of bullshit is that? 9:30? 9:30. I'm gonna stay up, dude. You know why? Because I'm gonna drink my first energy drink in years. I'm not kidding. On Tuesday, I'm drinking my first energy drink in years. I'm going to stay up so I can watch some of this game. But I'm not thrilled with the NBA and their bullshit of fucking putting that thing at 9:30 at night. That is ignorant as shit. So, because life is all about me and nobody else. That's why I say it's ignorant.
Hey, I mean, for me, I can't be salty.
I'm sorry, it's 8:30. I threw a fit. It's 8:30. I'm still mad. I'm still mad about it.
It's okay.
Thank you.
I'm actually off Tuesdays usually, so that's convenient.
Oh, good for you. There you go. Good for you, man.
We'll get you a case of energy drinks, and you'll be ready for the West Coast games.
I'm gonna have fucking Red Bull. It's gonna give me wings. But yeah, so we have basketball, and if I can stay awake and you're off on Tuesday, I know it's a preseason game. We've never done preseason post games, but I'm excited because I just want to watch.
We took the off season off. We are doing preseason.
Oh, we're doing okay. So we are doing preseason
post games. Yeah, we are.
Okay, so like, how pissed are you gonna be when I fucking pass out?
Probably about as pissed as I was that you were late. So it's like a little bit mad, but not too mad because it's you and I love your face. So I can't ever really be mad at you.
I'm glad, dude. Fucking glad, bro. I felt bad about being late.
But no, you're a girl dad of 3. Like if you fall asleep, it's really hard for me to have a gripe with that.
I appreciate that. It is hard. They're very demanding. They're very demanding, and they're starting to fight now. The 4 and the 2-year-old. Really, it's fucking irritating. Like I laugh sometimes, but most of the time I'm like,
sock and boppers,
dude,
boppers.
More fun than a pillow fight. Yeah, let's fucking go. That just showed our age. My brothers are actually here right now. They come every weekend and they hang out with me every weekend. I'm very blessed. Since my mom passed, they come over every weekend. We fucking hang out. We cook great meals together and shit. But if I were to do the sock and boppers thing to me, they would look at me like I was a fucking moron. Because they have no idea. Like, dude, I was talking to them about, like, remember Cher?
Yeah.
They have no fucking clue.
I even remember Sonny.
Yeah, they have no fucking clue. They've got no clue. I'm sitting here dropping names like Ron Mercer and Marcus Pfizer. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I feel really old. My 31-year-old self feels like 97 when I talk to them. They're my guys. I'm better than them at 2K, but that's. So
you're not that old yet.
No, they're actually better than me. I'm just talking shit. So I talk shit the whole time I'm playing, whether I'm losing or not. But I did find a way to stop them. So fun fact: if you double team Steph Curry, you will beat them. Because that's what kids do. They do these stupid dribble moves. I'm getting off into a fucking tangent here that doesn't need to happen. Well, we'll touch on that next time. But yeah. We are old is basically what I'm getting at with the Rock'em Sock'em shit. You got anything else, man?
No, I did not have anything else. Everybody pray for Lonzo's knee. Hopefully the reevaluation is promising because I can't really do this much. I
can't be sad anymore, man.
No, I can't be sad anymore. Signing Zoe for what we got him for was one of the best days of my life as a Bulls fan. and him not playing the remainder of the season and somehow still not being ready for the beginning of this season is now one of
Pretty
the
big
worst,
dick punch. Yeah.
one of the worst feelings as a Bulls fan that I've had in my life. So, prayers for Zoe. Let's hope that he can get right, because he really does change everything for this team.
Yeah, get well soon, Zoe. We're going to be back Tuesday. I'm going to do our damnedest to be back Tuesday night for the first Bulls preseason game. Get well soon, Zoe. Go Io DeSumo. You know, you be the starter. You go out there and you show everybody why you're a fucking bad motherfucker. So that's my closing statement. Everybody be sure to go on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter at Bulls on Tap and on Tap Sportsnet. Following Goose at Bulls Scripted, me at Buzz on Tap. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. 5-star rating and review, because that's cool and tough. Hopefully we will see you Tuesday. If I do not fall asleep, I will do my damnedest to not fall asleep. And yeah,